Well, hello and welcome to the Movie Paradise Show. I'm your host, Nathanael Molnár, and this is my first time back doing live streams for a couple months now. Just taking a look and make sure it all looks good. Yep, the stream looks like it's going well. So if there are some technical difficulties, I haven't done this in a little while, so I do apologize. I'm trying my best to make sure it's all looking well. So hi, welcome back to these live streams. So some of you may be aware that a few months ago I had been doing live streams on a little bit of a continuous basis. I had a schedule going, things were all set, and then I was hit with this really sort of BS YouTube algorithm thing. It's kind of a long story, but the gist of it is that I streamed like 40 seconds of just the thumbnail image, and it picked it up as spam, and so it gave me a strike against the channel, saying that I was putting out spam. And I didn't realize that to appeal it, I had to keep the video. So I deleted the video before I could appeal, and then I was barred from doing live streams for about 3 months. And so it took me a little bit to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with the live streams. But now I'm back, and I'm hoping to be able to do these live streams on a regular basis. I'm thinking for now twice a week, because my schedule has changed now since it was when I was originally doing the live streams. So I can tell you, I don't know exactly what the frequency is going to be yet, but I can tell you that the next live stream will be this Tuesday, most likely at 1 p.m. So make sure to come join us then for that discussion. I'm going to move that a little bit. There we go. So, what's up? So, tonight I'm going to be going to see Shaft, which is the new Samuel L. Jackson movie. I've been hearing pretty poor things about it. I haven't checked Rotten Tomatoes in a while as to what it is, but I saw it was pretty low. I'm not sure exactly what to expect. I thought the trailers were funny. I love Samuel L. Jackson. This kind of property, this kind of project is really right up his alley. So I'm hoping to at least be entertained, but we'll see how it ends up turning out. So expect my review on that coming up in the next little bit. But now, let's get into some movie news. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things. From the thumbnail, you could tell that I'm going to be reflecting on Fox's X-Men legacy from the past 19 years. We're going to be talking about Bradley Cooper joining Guillermo del Toro's new film. We're going to be talking about the Doctor Sleep trailer. We'll be talking about Dark Phoenix. But first, let us talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, which is the latest MCU movie to be opening up in theaters in just a little bit. It opens in July. I think it's July 2nd is when it opens up in theaters. Of course, this is coming right off of what Marvel just did. Huge box office success with Avengers Endgame, which is currently just a hair behind Avatar for being the highest grossing film of all time. So Spider-Man is going to be opening it up, and we could tell from the trailer that they put out right after Endgame came out, they are marketing Spider-Man Far From Home heavily as being the next chapter right after kind of dealing with the aftermath of Endgame. Of course, spoilers for Endgame, but if you haven't seen Endgame by now, you probably have already heard the spoilers. But the trailer dealt all with Tony Stark's death and how Peter Parker himself is personally dealing with that, which I thought was absolutely genius, because then you're marketing to all the people, the tons of people who went and saw Endgame. You're telling them, you want to find out what happens next? Go see Spider-Man Far From Home. So we kind of all figured that Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be a big movie at the very least. And I was been thinking personally for a while that this was probably going to cross the $1 billion mark, because the last one was like 870, 890, like just on the cusp of 900. And so with this extra little push we're getting in the aftermath of Endgame, I think Spider-Man Far From Home had a really good shot of crossing the $1 billion mark. And we have the opening weekend numbers. According to Deadline, it's looking like Spider-Man Far From Home could be looking at a $170 million plus debut, which is incredible. Now, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think that Homecoming was somewhere in the 110, 120 mark for its opening weekend, and so if Far From Home does get somewhere as close to 170 million plus, that's a huge step above Homecoming. And I think it just makes sense, considering where we are after Endgame, coming off of all that buzz, all that money, all those people who saw that movie, marketing this heavily to be the next chapter in this ongoing saga. If you want to know what happens after Endgame, you go see Spider-Man Far From Home. This is no shock to me. And I think looking at these numbers, seeing $170 million plus as the potential, very well could be under that, it very well could be over that, as is evident by the plus added after 170. This movie is going to do very well, and I fully expect it to cross 1 billion. Now, how much over 1 billion will it go? Will it just barely cross 1 billion? Will it do 1.2? Could it even go as high as 1.5? Who knows? But I think this movie is going to be big. These are some very interesting numbers. And I know I, for one, cannot wait to go see this movie. And so we had, next thing up, we have a trailer for the sequel to The Shining, which is Doctor Sleep. So Stephen King, obviously, he wrote the book The Shining, and that was adapted by Stanley Kubrick to be the world-famous movie, classic that everybody knows. I have some thoughts on The Shining, which I'll get into in just a second. Stephen King also wrote a book, a sequel book called Doctor Sleep, which has now been adapted, I believe, by Mike Flanagan. I'm like 90% sure on that. I should have double checked it before I did the show, but I'm pretty sure it's Mike Flanagan who is doing Doctor Sleep. And so what we learned was this isn't also just an adaptation of the sequel book to The Shining. This is a direct sequel to the movie as well, but also taking from the book. So my thoughts on The Shining are a little bit different from everyone else. And I know there are some other people. In fact, Stephen King is kind of on my side. Well, actually, I guess rather I'm on Stephen King's side, but that's beside the point. I like The Shining, but I have some problems with it. I'm not head over heels in love with the film, and I don't hold it to be one of my favorite movies or anything like that. And if you look at what Stephen King objects to about that film, because he's not a huge fan of The Shining movie either, I pretty much 100% agree with what he believes the problems with that movie are. I'm not going to go into them because this is a review of Doctor Sleep trailer, but let's just say that I'm not the world's biggest Shining fan. But when you approach something like Doctor Sleep, and you have a director like Mike Flanagan, who is a very interesting director, and you have someone like Ian McGregor attached to be the leading role, that in of itself gets me interested in this film. That in of itself really does intrigue me. But the trailer itself, I think this is a good trailer. It has some creepy moments, definitely. It has some great visual imagery. Ian McGregor, of course, he's just a standout star. Whatever he's in, I love seeing him pop up and stuff. I think he looks great in this trailer. It looks creepy. It builds atmosphere. I'm really interested in what's going on. It wasn't a trailer that made me go, I need to see this movie now. It didn't have that effect on me. It definitely made me go, oh, that looks pretty cool. That looks interesting. But it wasn't a trailer that made me immediately go, I got to see this movie now. And especially since I have not been won over by The Shining. You're already, at least in my case at least, you're going on an uphill battle. Because I wasn't a huge fan of The Shining. So if you're trying to sell me a sequel to The Shining, it's already an uphill battle. And so for some other people who might already love The Shining, to see this trailer, they might go, oh, yes, we're back. This looks great. I can't wait to see this movie. It's going to be awesome. But for someone like me, who is not the world's biggest Shining fan, just having a good trailer isn't enough to make me go, all right, I'm seeing Doctor Sleep. It's not enough. Now, I'm sure there's going to be other trailers. They're going to have plenty of other opportunities to make me go, okay, this is a movie that I need to see now. There's plenty of other opportunities. We're still a little ways away from the movie. It was just a teaser trailer. So they have time to win me over. But right now, it's a good trailer. I liked it. I like the people involved. I think it's an interesting idea. But it just was not enough to make me go, for a person who is not a fan of these movies necessarily. Sorry, I had a little difficulty there. For a person who is not already immediately predisposed to The Shining, who isn't already a fan of that, it just wasn't enough to make me immediately go, I need to see this movie. But they have plenty of other opportunities to see that. So anyway, those are my quick thoughts on the trailer for Doctor Sleep. And now we move on to a little bit of casting news. So Bradley Cooper, who is coming off of a big year for him last year, he of course wrote, directed, produced, and starred in A Star Is Born, which he was up for an Academy Award for starring in it, for being for Best Picture, whole bunch of stuff. Bradley Cooper is now in talks to replace Leonardo DiCaprio in Guillermo del Toro's next film, Nightmare Alley, which is actually should, if it gets done and is made now, it would be the next film Guillermo del Toro does after winning Best Director and winning Best Picture for The Shape of Water in 2017. Well, he won in 2018, but the movie came out in 2017. So let's start with this. Whatever Guillermo del Toro does next, I'm interested. I don't always love Guillermo del Toro's movies. You know, he's not a filmmaker that every single thing he puts out, I love. But what I love about Guillermo del Toro is that whenever he talks about film, whenever he talks about the craft or the art of film, you know, he's someone that I watch and I listen to and I go, that's a guy who gets it. He's a guy who, when he makes a film, he just absolutely loves to make films. And to me, even if I don't necessarily love every single thing he puts out, the fact, what his glow about making movies, that sheer passion and joy he has about film and about making films, it's contagious. And so I think the guy is a genius. I think he's brilliant. And even if I don't necessarily love every single one of his movies, I will always get excited about a new Guillermo del Toro film. And so he's got this new one. And Shape of Water, I thought, was a very good movie. I had incredibly high expectations, and it didn't meet those expectations. Maybe I want to watch it again to see now that I don't have those expectations. Because I went in thinking, this is going to be one of the best of the year. I